Well, hello, out there, social media world. I hope everyone's doing fine. It's Friday. Woo! Some of us are very happy about that, and other of us maybe not so much. I'm sure the kids are happy about finishing their first week of school in this year, and so hope they have a fantastic weekend, getting back into the swing of things. Um, Wanted to talk a little bit today about acceptance, um, what that could mean for some of us and not for others, um, and the idea of letting things go, and how that sort of connects in the two. So let's see if we can find something there. So oftentimes we'll hear, just accept it. Just it just is what it is, and that there's a lot of truth to that. You know? But oftentimes when we think about acceptance, we we sort of, acceptance is not approval. It doesn't mean, when some of those really intangible things come up and we're working through them and someone says, you just need to accept it. And it's kind of, can be like a real whack, right? With a stick, right? Just whoosh, you just need to accept that. And it can be hard, right? Accept that. I'm not accepting that. Bullshit. And so the more we work through that and start to learn for ourselves and maybe experience that, acceptance is not approval, but it doesn't mean that, just say if you all get to a four-way stop, and most people have experienced this, if you drive, get to a four-way stop, everyone gets there at the same time. Now you've accepted the fact that everyone's there at the same time, but it doesn't mean you approve of it, right? And then you're waiting for someone to make a decision. It's like, oh, who's going to make the decision, right? And so you don't just sit there and accept the fact that that's it. Someone makes the decision to try to go, right? You may not approve of the fact that everyone's there at the same time, and the person that goes may not be the proper person that goes. So you could chase after them and try to run them down and say, you went wrong, you weren't supposed to go, or you could accept the fact that that's what they did. It doesn't mean that you approve of the fact that they did the wrong thing, but you accept it, that happened. And there's not a whole lot you can do about that. If that makes sense? And so when we get into these really hard parts in our situations or our life experiences, and someone says, well, you just need to accept that's how it is. And there's a lot of truth, but acceptance doesn't mean you just approve of it. If you're in an unhealthy situation, we don't just tell someone, well, just accept it. It's just how it is. You accept the fact that that's how it is, but now what? What do you do next? Right? And you're allowed to do something to change that situation. That situation is what it is, but you are allowed to do something to change that if you're capable of doing that, or if you're able to do that, or if things are in a way that you can make that happen. But the challenge can be sometimes is that acceptance piece, right? Like relationships end. Someone's calling me. Greg, you're calling me. Stop. I'm live right now, Greg. I'm gonna hang up on you. Craig's my friend, so it's okay to. Anyways, so you get in those situations and that acceptance piece becomes really hard, right? And it's not saying that just accept it. It's you can accept that that's what's going on, but also moving forward to try to make things a little different for yourself, right? You don't have to be stuck in that, right? And then that comes to that next piece, you'll hear sometimes, well, just let it go. Just let it go. And because letting go of stuff can be pretty hard, right? It's not as easy as just letting it go, but in some ways it is. And so over my life in certain things, learning to let go, it's like, screw that, I'm fucking letting that go. And the more I've sort of worked on those things and worked with people, what I started to notice is that what people really seem to let go of is they let go of their perspective of that situation that they're trying to work on changing or letting go, right? And so we work away and our perspective begins to change about something. right? And you might be thinking like, no, it's not going to change. and and I respect that. And for certain ones of us and certain things, it doesn't change, right? But some of us will start to notice that we let go of these things, and you're letting go of that perspective of how that was, in a relationship and it ended. You didn't want it to end, and you need to accept that part. Doesn't mean you approve of it. And then you'll hear people, well, it's time to move on. You need to let go. And working through that, when you start to let go of that perspective of what maybe that situation, that relationship, however that sits with you, not for everyone else, when you start to work through that and let that go. Hey, Mike. I can. Thanks for joining, Mike. I appreciate it. Good to see you again, man. So, letting go of those different perspectives for you, how you do that. It doesn't matter what other people are telling you, and they may have some great advice in it, and listen to the people that you trust, or you feel, hey, yeah, they are setting good examples or good situations up for me. But it's just something I noticed over a lifetime that I can't see it. Marriage is death to us part. Well, I mean, that can be a matter of perspective, for sure, Mike. As we're letting these things go and our perspectives change, maybe it's marriages could be a great thing, and just might not be for everybody. Maybe that works for people. I don't know. But it's just something I noticed, is that you'd hear people say, just let that shit go. Just let it go. Right. And it'd be great if we were all geared that way. I know I'm not. I like to hold on to stuff and really grind it out. Right. And prove my point. It hasn't worked out very well for me. What has worked out well for me is, what has worked out well for me is that the more I looked at how I was looking at that, how I was looking at that relationship, or that person I was in a relationship, or that job, and I started to see my part in that and changing up my perspective for me, it became easier to accept how that was. Not to blame somebody, not to say it's their fault, but I can see my piece in it, right? And this may not work for you, and you might think I'm totally nuts for talking about this, and that's okay. 100% okay. Because if I said it wasn't, then that's not really appreciating your perspective of things. And so that's another thing to look at. Is someone says, no, you have to do it this way, but that doesn't fit for you. It's okay to say, well, hey, that's great, but that doesn't fit for me. And that's honoring someone else's perspective of things. You may not agree, but we accept the fact that that's how it is. But we have a conversation about our differences. We respect each other's differences, or sometimes people be like, no, you're totally full of this, this, and this. And then that conversation is not really a conversation anymore, because all conversations it's not always nice and fluffy, right? But when we let go of that perspective and see what they're saying is valid for them, and they can take in what we're saying is valid for us, usually have a pretty good conversation, right? So looking at acceptance is not approval, but things end, and working on accepting that for yourself and changing that up for yourself, and then letting go. It's not as easy as just let it go. It can be for some people. If that's you, I want to talk to you. I want to get to know how you just do that. Typically, people are letting go of things, and as they're, holding on and they're letting go a little bit, their perspective is changing for them, and find a little more love, I think, for themselves, and that perspective changes, and they realize their worth, and they matter, and that their perspective is valid, and it's starting to change, and they can begin to become more open to what's happening. Will it always be that way? No. It'd be great if it was, but it's not going to be. I don't know if it'd be that great. I think it's pretty good that we have to work through these things, and we're not just always get it. Take some time. Anyways, I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I appreciate you stopping by, Mike, and chatting and distracting me. It's always awesome. And keep up the cold baths. I haven't seen one yet. Like lately, I've seen some, but I haven't seen many lately. So, and I have to come and join you sometime with that. Not in the same tub though. We'll do it differently. And hi, Kim. It's good to see you, Kim. I can't really see you, but love you, Kim. That's my sister. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Ciao.